Hey everyone, so this is a really exciting video. I am doing my Pan That Palette update, and this one is my finale for the Lorac Pro, an update for the NARS Guy Bourdin cheek palette, and then an intro for my new palette. So let's go ahead and start with the Lorac Pro. So this is the eyeshadow palette that I worked on for all of 2015. I actually started this on December 1st of 2014, so this is 13 months of consistent use for me. I only, added in shadows as I needed to. I think there were only a couple times when I didn't use this. So yeah, the package is definitely like worn and torn inside. My mirror broke, during the process. So anyway, here is what my finished Pan That palette looks like. I did not completely clear out all the shades, but this is where I'm at. Today is December 29th, so I will be using this for 2 more days, but I don't think I'm going to be finishing either of the 2 shadows that I want to, where my goal is to finish up, which is fine. So anyway, this is where I am at. So I am extremely proud of myself. I think this was a really fun challenge for me, and I definitely would say if you have this palette, not that it's my favorite, but if you have it, it's a great palette to start panning, just because they are small shadows. There's a ton of colors. You got a ton of mattes, a ton of shimmers. It really is a nice all-in-one palette. I have to give it credit. It is nice. I personally will not be repurchasing it for a lot of reasons. So anyway, let's just go through each of the shades and I'm going to talk about them. So white and cream are 2 matte shades, and I use those all over the lid to set my cream shadow as a brow bone highlight. So those ones were done really easily for me. This next one was taupe. I use that as a crease shade. I also use it as a bronzer. This next one is light pink. This I used on the inner corner. I used it to help blend out my crease shade. I really enjoyed this shade. And then mauve I use as a crease shade and as a blush, and I really enjoyed it as both of those things. So that's how I use those matte shades that I completely finished. This one here is sable, and it's just kind of like a reddish brown. I've been using it to set my liner, and I also use it currently in the deep part of my crease to really define it. So I just have just a tiny bit against that side there and then some up there. So I'm really proud of how well I cleared that out for it being such a dark shade. Before this challenge, I really did not reach for any sort of dark shade unless I was setting my liner. So I was really proud of myself for just branching out and trying it in my crease, and I have really enjoyed it. This is Espresso, which is a darker than sable matte brown. More of a chocolatey shade, and this I used to set my liner, and that was it. So these 4 from the get-go, my whole plan was just to hit pan on them, and I'm really proud to say that I did. So I just hit pan on that and moved on. This is black, again, a matte shade. I just used this to set my liner. Down here is slate. It's definitely shows up more blue on my skin and my eyes. It just does not really flatter me, so I use this on my lower lash line until I hit pan, and then I decided I was done. And I did the same thing for deep purple. I used it on my lower lash line and decided it was too deep for me, and then I pulled out a plum liner that I had and I used it to set that. So that was nice. This one here is Garnet, and it is a really pretty shade, but it's pretty dark for me anyway, so I was really proud to get through this as much as I have. This is repressed, so it's very, very thin in here. I don't know if you can really tell, but it's very thin in the pan because I did repress it. This one I am currently using as a crease shade, like a transitioning crease shade, very lightly, and then I also use it on the outer kind of third of my eye. Pewter, I really do not like the way this looks on my eyes. It makes me look like I have a black eye. It just does not flatter me. So I hit pan and I decided I was done. I used this on my lower lash line. I also used it in the outer third. Just not for me. So this one here was light bronze. This was my favorite color in the entire palette just because it was that perfect light gold shade. It wasn't too orange. It wasn't too silvery. It was just the perfect gold shade for me. I could swipe it all over my lid without thinking. This one here was gold. It was quite orange. I mixed it with both nude and champagne, and both these were champagne and nude shades. Champagne was definitely more of like a chunky glitter, so I used that one up first and I layered it, and I also use it as my like inner corner shade. And then nude I could use all over the lid because I really liked it. I could layer it with gold, and I used it as the inner corner shade. So that's how I used all the shades in this palette. Like I said, I am very proud of myself. It made me reach for shades that I didn't in the past, you know, like using mauve as a crease shade. I I really would have never have reached for like such a rosy tone like that in the past, such a purpley one. But I really liked it. So it did teach me a lot about myself and how to, you know, work around colors that maybe you don't think aren't suited for you. So my whole thing was, as long as I hit pan on all the shades, that meant that I tried it enough times to really know if I enjoy the color or not. And so, you know, that's how it was with like pewter. It was like, you know, I've used it enough to hit pan and I don't like how it looks on me, so I'm gonna be done. And I think just trying is, you know, more important than finishing. So I'm really, really happy with where I am with this, and I am very proud to say that I panned a palette this year. Even though it's not completely panned, it's panned to me. So this is done, and I am so excited. It will be in my makeup empties video. I've saved all my makeup empties this year. I did the same thing last year, so I will have that video linked in my new makeup empties. It's really fun to save all your makeup all year. I know it sounds like hoarder-ish, but it's really fun. So this will be in there. The other thing is in May, so May 1st, I started to weigh it on my food scale. So I had already used up shades. I had already hit pan by that point, but I was like, you know, I'm just going to do it. So from that point, it was 122 grams, and I weighed it just now, and it's down to 117 grams. So from May till now, I used up 5 grams of product, which I am really impressed with. There's only 8.8 grams in here, so I did use up a ton of it, and I had used some before then. So I would just say, if you have like a food scale, weigh your palettes and see, you know, track your progress that way, because there are a lot of times when there is progress, but you don't see it. Like, there's not pan, you're not finishing shadows, but there is progress being made. So that was just a thing that I started to do, and I really enjoyed it. I will have pictures on my Instagram of like before and after. So anyway, look for that. Okay, moving on. The NARS Guy Bourdin palette. This is the cheek palette I've been working on since May 1st, and I did weigh it. So on May 1st, it weighed 191 grams. It currently weighs 185, so I have total used up 6 grams of product in here, which I'm very proud of. One, you know, like square in here is 4 grams. So I've used up like 1.5. I haven't completely used up 1.5, but you know, in theory. So anyway, I'm going to open this up and share with you guys what it looks like now. So here is my progress. So I have a lot of pan on the bronzer here, and I also have more pan on the highlight down here. I do have a nice dip in the highlight, but I've been using the highlight as my cheek highlight, but also in this corner I've been using my small eyeshadow brush and using it as my inner corner highlight, and I really like that, and that's why, you know, I'm kind of like digging a hole in that corner and I'm just working my way out. The bronzer is getting very thin. I might be repressing it soon, especially since I have finished up this bottom part, but I'm really excited about it. And then the blushes, they're getting there. I've been using a lot of this shade. This is my favorite shade. This is Orgasm. It's just too red for me for every day. This is a perfect everyday shade. I have used the Berry Summon and this matte light pink. I have used some too, but this is my for sure like go-to shade. So my goals for this palette, I'm going to keep working on it in 2016. And I'm going to, after January, I'm going to be rotating my, you know, other products in like I was before. So I do want to finish up the bronzer completely, and I would love to finish up the highlighter completely. We'll see. But as far as the blushes, I'm just going to see how far I can get in 2016. At the end of 2016, this palette is leaving my life. So that's kind of my plan for the upcoming year. Every 2 weeks I will be switching out. Like I said, it was what I was doing earlier. So like for 2 weeks I'll use different blushes, but I'll still use the bronzer and highlighter. For the next 2 weeks I'll use these blushes and the bronzer, but not the highlighter. And then for the next 2 weeks I'll use everything but the bronzer, just to like, you know, switch out. I think I will be done with this bronzer soon, so I can just, you know, rotate through all my bronzers as soon as this one's done. But anyway, that is my progress. I'm very happy with it. I know I don't have pan on the blushes, but I'm really happy to see the bronzer and the highlighter where they are. So, yep, you'll be seeing more of this in 2016. Fear not. Okay, so introduction for my new palette. I did kind of like show it a little bit recently, but I will be panning in 2016 the Tarte Be Magnificent palette. This was a limited edition palette. It came out kind of like early spring. I got this as a Valentine's gift 2 years ago, so in 2014 I got this. It's very similar to the Tartelette palette in my opinion. I mean, it's different, but similar. So I really like the cover, and it's a nice sturdy palette, so I don't think it's gonna break on me. It has a nice mirror here, and it does stay up right there, because that's something I've noticed with my other palettes is they, you know, used to be stiff enough to stay up, but this has an actual stopper, whereas like my Guy Bourdin palette, it used to be able to just stop wherever, but I've been using it so much that it's super flimsy. But anyway, so I will show you guys the palette. This is what it looks like. It is completely matte, as the name would suggest. So, yeah, this is what I'm going to be working on. So let's just go through the shades. This is a blush, and I might use this here and there. I'm not so sure. Maybe when I'm off of the blushes in my Guy Bourdin palette, I will mix this one in. But I'm not really like trying to use up this blush necessarily, but it is a nice shade. This is a deep like matte brown shade, and then the same, this is a deep matte black. And these you can wet your brush and use as an eyeliner, supposedly on its own. I'm just going to use these to set my liner. That's just what I use dark colors for. I'm really not a dark eyeshadow person. And then as for these shadows, this is a like cream matte white kind of shade. This I'll be using how I use, you know, cream and white in the Lorac Pro as an all over the lid and eyebrow highlight shade. And then this is a light pink, which is perfect because I use this kind of shade every single day on my inner corner to help brighten up that area. So I'll be using that there, and also maybe to help blend. As far as these three shades, I'm going to be using them as crease shades, you know, maybe like outer corner for this one. So these three are perfect because, you know, I'm going to talk about in a second, but I'm going to be mixing in other shadows obviously with this because this is a matte palette and I don't want to do matte looks for an entire year. And then this purple, I don't really plan to use up completely. It's going to be one of those things where I want to hit pan on it and experiment with it, but I don't plan to finish it up. So I want to finish up these 5, and I want to hit pan on these 2 and this one, and then I'm just going to see what happens with this blush. I'm not really in like a big hurry. So this is going to be the palette I'm using in 2016, and I haven't decided if I'm going to do it every month, like a 1 month, 1 palette, or if I'm going to do it every 2 weeks when I normally rotate my makeup. I'm kind of thinking about doing every 2 weeks. I'm going to mix in other palettes, other singles, other duos, just other eyeshadows I have in my collection, because doing the Lorac Pro really made me feel bad about all the other beautiful eyeshadows I have in my collection and just letting them sit there for getting a year older and not using them. So, you know, I could be mixing in just a duo with this for 2 weeks. It could be my Naked palette. It could be anything. It could be my Z palette. You just be like a quad. But every 2 weeks, I think, or so, you know, like every once in a while, I will be switching in other palettes just to make sure that I'm using everything and to give me fresh ideas and fresh looks to combine with this one. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoy and are excited for the upcoming year. I'm very excited. I think it's going to be great working on these 2 palettes in the upcoming year, and I think I can be pretty successful, and I'm really excited to have a palette that I'm going to be panning eyeshadow wise that I can still like use the other things in my collection. And I'm really happy with the way that I'm going to be panning this one, where every 2 weeks I'm switching out and I'm able to use other things in my collection, because I don't want to just use these and let everything sit there for another year without me using them. So that's how I'm going to do it in the upcoming year. These are the 2 palettes you'll be seeing updates for. And yeah, I'll have a picture of the Tarte one where I'm started on my Instagram. I did weigh this guy, so we'll have accurate weigh-ins every month. It is 169 grams, the whole packaging. So I'm not, let me see here. Okay, so each little square in here is 2.15 grams. So that's a lot of product. These are going to definitely take me a lot longer to get through than the Lorac Pro did. And then those 2 longer ones on the bottom are, let me see here, 3.36 grams, these ones. So we'll see how deep these are. I mean, I did finish up some Tarte singles that seem to be about the same size. So hopefully, you know, they are about the same size so I know what to expect. So this is the palette I'll be panning. I think I'm rambling now, so I'm going to go. I hope you guys enjoyed and continue along with me in this journey for the next upcoming year, the next year. I do have a playlist of all my Pan That Palette videos down below in my description bar, so you can check that out. And I hope you guys are having a great day, and subscribe if you aren't already, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.